Griffin will pitch tomorrow, and we'll give Brett Anderson one more day. He'll pitch on Sunday.
I think Griffin had what he said, kind of spotty start, and he felt a lot better in his previous start. Was there any other indications that he was definitely ready to go over a guy like Straley?
I think performance-based and what he's done here to this point too. You know, it was unfortunate he went down when he did because he was pitching really consistently for us. So, you know, it was. I think the dynamic was more how many starts did he need to come back. We didn't feel like he was ready after the first one. We feel like he's ready after the second one.
Thought about giving Anderson an extra day. Is it just?
I think it's just a prudent thing to do. You know, he's come a long ways and, you know, pitched deep into games twice. You know, he goes after it pretty hard. You know, with Griffin coming back, we just felt like it was the right thing to do to give him an extra day. It doesn't affect who he's pitching against here in the next couple of starts, so we just felt like that was the right thing to do.
I noticed Gomes is in against the right-handed pitcher. He's got pretty good numbers against Cook. Is that the decision there?
Correct.
Simple.
You know, I look at the matchups for the guys that are the role-type players before a series starts, and this one stood out pretty well. Moss as well. I mean, this is usually a game that Smith and Carter would start, but based on the fact that Moss is 4 for 4 with a homer too, you know, we're trying to match up here the best we can on a particular day, and now we do have two terrific options coming off the bench in Carter and Smith. So just because someone starts a game doesn't mean they potentially finish, but they did have good numbers off Cook.
You have Inge here, and he says he's ready to go. I mean, you feel like he's ready to go?
Well, one last day. We'll see how he does here, and you know, knowing him, hopefully he doesn't do some sort of a belly flop out there or a couple somersaults and does the wrong thing. So we'll get him through the workout today, and if all goes well, there's a good chance we activate him tomorrow.
You always talk of your roster not being of 25, but actually 32, counting people that comes back and forth
right.
and help you. Yeah, so you're very excited that tomorrow you could be able to add some of those people that have helped you during the year and could help you in September.
Right. But I think the important thing for us is getting people that can help you at a particular time. So you don't want to overdo it and just have people here that potentially you don't use. So I think that's kind of what we're weighing right now, is who are the guys that we are going to use at this point in time. Also, Sacramento is in the playoffs now. That doesn't really, you know, factor in. If we feel like we need a player, we'll go ahead and get him. But you know, it could be a couple guys at first and maybe some more later. Not really sure yet.
You always are very high on Figueroa. You have been high on Figueroa all year long.
Yeah.
What it says for him that he's coming up precisely the day before.
Right. Well, he's been instrumental for us, you know, whether it's multiple innings or matching up. He's done a great job for us this year. You know, with the amount of relievers that we used over the last 4 games, especially left-handers, I really didn't want to use Doolittle yesterday and Cook yesterday. Blevins has pitched 3 days in a row, so we've worn him out a little bit. And with Blackley starting, you know, we're still probably a couple days away from using him, so we could use another left-hander as well.
How long does Miller have to stay down, because it's the end of the minor league season?
Right. Well, it's different in Stockton than it would be in Sacramento. Right. So that's the reason we sent him to Stockton. He's eligible to come back on Tuesday, and that will be the case for him.
What's the situation with Jamal? Would he come back on the September call-ups, considering what he might be able to give?
I think we're still considering that. There's some other options speed-wise too, but I think we're still considering what our options are. We haven't made decisions for sure on what's going on tomorrow. And then again, we could add some players tomorrow, and you could increase that at some point in time after too.
Well, the last 2.5 months or so, as you guys have been starting to play really well, you begin to question, you know, how are guys going to deal with the playoff push? And you say, you know what, it's not really a playoff push until you get to September.
It's not a playoff push until you get to the playoffs for me. And now the game's become a little bit more intriguing, certainly because the finish line is there and where we are in the schedule. And once it turns to September, certainly all eyes are on, you know, how many games away from potentially the end of the season and where you are in the standings. But we're not going to look at it any differently. I think with the group of guys we have and as many young players, we've been very good about just looking at the particular day, and that's the way we're going to continue to look at it. We're not worried about the next series. We're not worried about a potential road trip. we are concerned with the day, and we try to put all our efforts into that particular day.
Can you believe how different their roster looks? I mean, this time around from the last time you.
It is, but it's still a dangerous team. You know, they didn't have Ellsbury last time. Syriac was playing really well for him. Posednik's done really well for him. So it's still a club that can score a lot of runs. They probably have a little bit more team speed at this point right now. You know, when we last saw them, when they were here, they probably looked at our roster from the first time they saw us and said there's a significant difference too. So I think over the course of the season, it changes, maybe not nearly as dramatically with the amount of, you know, household name type players that they had, but it is a different looking roster.
Norberto has the shoulder thing for the second time now. It's the same thing, but it's the second time around.
Right.
How confident are you that he could be back with the A's to help you out in the last few weeks?
Yeah, we certainly are holding out hope for that. It's not going to be tomorrow. And I'm not even sure what his day eligibility to come off is, but we're gonna probably take it a little bit slower with him based on the fact it is the second time. We want to make sure he's healthy. He's been another guy that's been very instrumental for us over the course of the season. So when he's ready to return, we will make sure he's good and healthy and won't push it.
Bob, can you envision what it would mean to a little league team to come on a big league field? They just got clapped. I mean, their whole team just stopped and clapped for them. And what that must mean to come on a big league field and be hosted by a team like this.
Yeah, well, I think they probably had a lot of firsts for them and exciting experiences this year. You know, you think about how many Little League teams there are. I mean, it's not like, you know, the major leagues you have with 30 teams or whatever it is, and Little League teams, there's thousands and thousands. For them to accomplish what they did is pretty special. So they probably deserve that. They certainly deserve the hand they got. We're excited about having them here, and hopefully they're as excited about being here as we are having them.
And it's just kind of fortunate that Johnny does have good numbers against Cook, right?
Probably. You know, and I thought about that today too. It's probably all those things add up to a nice start for him today.
Will you say anything to those guys?
They want me to. Yeah.
Considering how things got off to a start at third base in April, I mean, when you look at it now, I mean, between Inge and Donaldson and Sogard a little bit, you've got like close to 20 home runs and maybe 75 RBIs from that position.
Right.
I mean,
and a lot of it's been done in the last several months, not necessarily from April on. So we've really, Billy's done a great job in getting us increasing the production at that position. You know, we knew that losing Scotty at first day of spring training was a blow for us, and it certainly was for a while. And then Brandon came in and started doing his thing, and then Donaldson here back for his third time is swinging the bat like we expect him to, and know that he can. So, you know, we have a good problem over there as far as, you know, how we're going to mix both those guys in.
One question about Donaldson and Inge. Is an option that Donaldson might be able to catch some games if needed?
He's always an option to do that, but we don't target him to start any games right now. We're comfortable with Kateris and Norris.
I'm just talking about Little League. What are your memories? I mean, how far did your team ever get when you were playing?
Not to where we had to get on a bus or a plane anywhere. It was, yeah, not too far. So that's pretty amazing. And I felt like we had good teams back when I played, but certainly nothing to this degree. Legion teams went to World Series and so forth, but man, Little League World Series is something that every kid from the age of 9 to 12 aspires to do, and not many get to do it.
Just a coincidence, but kind of nice that you guys share the same team colors.
Yeah, very happy to see that. I don't know if Johnny had something to do with that, and I don't know how long they've been wearing those colors, but certainly fits in here at our park.